It's hard to believe that we are only 1 week away from the election, man. We've been talking about this stuff for 4 years at this point in time. Hell, we've been dealing with the Trump hysteria even longer than that, over a decade, and it all culminates one short week from today. Crazy to think about it, and yeah, we're going to be ramping up coverage, and it's going to be incredibly hysterical to watch. Just because this past weekend was a very good encapsulation of both of the campaigns right now. One could not be flying higher. One is completely and totally dominating the momentum matchup, and the other one, well, it's crumbling before our very eyes. So let's just go ahead and we'll start off with the interview scene around the world at this point in time. Now, I've seen the Trump Rogan interview. I watched it when it was first posted. Well, within the first, what was it, like 7 hours or something like that? Or I think first 9 hours, because it got posted erroneously. There was a short period of time, I think on Saturday or Sunday, when it was delisted on YouTube. And even Rogan talked about it, and I think he made a post about it over on Twitter and saying that, yeah, it was supposed to go up on Spotify and on YouTube at the same time, but that has since been rectified, and well, we've got it pulled up right here, and bro, it's got over 36 million views. Let's go ahead and appropriately size that. See, yeah, you can see right there, 36.1 million views, at least at time of recording. And yeah, you take a look at that ratio, 1 million upvotes to 39,000 downvotes. People liked the interview. And yeah, you know, when I watched it without commentary the first time, I watched it on 2x speed, because that's something that you can do, and that's something that I'm kind of accustomed to when it comes to watching YouTube videos. But it was a very easily listenable interview. When it comes to Trump speeches, Trump campaigns, stops, Trump rallies, like, I've listened to a whole host of them. I've even streamed a fair few of his announcements and interviews. This was arguably the easiest listen. They covered a whole host of topics, and yeah, there's a good thread here by the Vigilant Fox that breaks everything down, that yeah, goes over the different topics that were discussed during the 3 hours of conversation that I'm not going to say Trump dominated, because Joe did a very good job, and Joe Rogan's been somebody that I've been critical of for, for the entirety of my channel, really. It was like one of the first videos that I put out after he got the big Spotify deal and went exclusive over there for a certain amount of time. I made the comparison to Howard Stern, and it's very funny. A clip that has been making the rounds recently, it might have actually been with that Fight Companion video that he did after the Trump interview, where he said, yeah, I kind of took that Spotify deal to, yeah, cash in, and then also to be about 10% less famous. And I was like, oh, well, guess who was 1000% correct and proven right? But we don't need to take a victory lap right now. There's still far too much good work to do out there, like praise all involved with that interview. It was quite good. I would encourage you to go and watch it, and that's why there will be a link in the description. But yeah, just the high issues being discussed here, the 35,000 foot view of the topics. Okay, so yeah, starting off, Rogan brought up 2015 appearance from The View, and said that you definitely wouldn't be seeing that in today's day and age, where you would have the likes of Whoopi Goldberg, Barbara Walwas, Joy Behar, and the rest of the crew just absolutely lapping Trump's ass when he's up there. And then, as the ball started to roll and he started to get some primary victories, oh, how the winds have changed. And it's so funny, right? Because I hope to also be doing this on Wednesday, even though I won't be going to the gym or anything like that, because I have my own exercise routine at home. But it's funny. It's funny when I cast my mind back to presidential elections. I remember in 2008, it was called on the night, and yeah, I was walking out of the gym the moment that it was announced that Barack Obama would be the 44th president of the United States. And at the time I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. Who knew that would end up being the tipping point of Western society? But I digress. But the day after that fateful November 2016 day, I walk in after staying up until like 3 or 4 in the morning, as it was announced that Trump would indeed be the 45th president of the United States. I remember walking in, and for the entire Wednesday, I had a smile plastered on my face, and The View was there. They had Hillary's concession speech, and it looked like an open casket wake over there. Oh my God, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to go over that stuff again, because it's this week is going to be so special, okay? Like, I can't tell you everything that I have planned, but how hysterical the media is being with this Rogan interview and with the MSG rally that happened on Sunday. Well, we know that this will be Trump's final election, win, lose, or draw. He's going to be completely and totally free to do whatever he wants with his administration, and thankfully, it's not a continuation from 2020. This is a brand new host of people that was put front and center with that MSG rally that are going to be walking into the White House now that Trump is a little bit wiser, as he pointed out on the Rogan interview, where he was questioned about the biggest mistake that he made, something that even the most ardent Trump supporters have pointed out to being one of his biggest foibles is his inability, or rather, the term-long issue of him just appointing bad people, some bad hombres, very bad. Yeah, he said that the president is responsible for hiring 10,000 people on the first day, and as he's somebody who's not accustomed to Washington, D.C., not really my place. I wasn't there a lot. This time around, he's going to know who to put in that place. He has had time to think about that. He has been accustomed to being in the White House. He knows what the president has to do on day one. So that means there is a much greater potential for him to put the right people in the place first and foremost. But yeah, him, basically pointing out that John Bolton's an idiot, John Kelly is a jerk, and he would continue to drag General Miley throughout the entire interview. But Rogan, who has not historically been a Trump fan, who said, I think, what was that on the Lex Friedman podcast or something? I don't ever want to interview him. But then Rogan pipes up and says, after you got shot, I just had to have you in here, and if it wasn't for Dana White, you'd never be in there, or you'd never be here. Very interesting how he comes to those conclusions, but I digress. Rogan, who's not historically been a Trump fan, started dishing out compliments to the former president, telling him that the reason he's so popular is because he's genuine and doesn't speak in bullshit, pre-prepared politician lingo. Rogan pointed to the glorious moment in which he was at that town hall style debate where he told Hillary Clinton to her face, "You'd be in jail." I explained, one of the beautiful things about you is that you freeball. Like, you get out and you do these huge events and you're just talking. We've highlighted you on the show many times, and he did this Biden impression where he's walking around, doesn't know what he's doing. It's funny. It's stand up. It's funny stuff. And you were making fun of Elon one time, and you were doing an Elon impression. It's great. It's comedic instincts. Just like when he said to Hillary, you'd be in jail. It's great timing. It's like that kind of stuff was unheard of as a politician. Like, no one had done that. Which is true. And it's something that still doesn't happen. There aren't any high-profile politicians. There are some that have a little bit of charisma. I think Vivek is probably the second most engaging conversationalist when he's up at a podium, but everybody else just wilts in comparison to Trump. Like I said, just, watching other rallies that are out there, and whenever anybody else takes to the stage, they're a congressman of some form or fashion, they're just aides in comparison to Trump. It really does remind you why so many people were so glazed over when it came to the political process prior to Trump. It's because these guys are just kind of washouts from every other private industry, and they aren't compelling enough to make it on their own over there, so they have to hop over to public life. But I suppose we'll have to deal with that in the future, but all in due time, I guess. Okay. Elon Musk then entered the conversation. Okay. As Trump marveled at brilliant mind, saying he's the greatest guy, he's a smart guy from a different planet. He's crazy. He does so many things all the time. He's about the only other person that I could confidently say is he's very much on my level when it comes to just constantly working all the time. Elon's great. He's a great guy. Conversation took a serious turn when Rogan pointed to a lot of weirdness happening in 2020, particularly with mail-in ballots. And yes, that was something that they talked about for sure. Responding to Kamala Harris comparing, Trump to Hitler, which is, something that's going to continue on throughout this. And I don't know if they're stupid, if they're going to continue to bang this drum throughout the rest of the campaign this next week. But I can imagine they really are that silly, because this is the party that says, we need to really tone down this rhetoric, and there's just such a fervor, and Trump's the divisive one. Oh yes, but he's also holding Nazi rallies at Madison Square Garden, like the very pro-Hitler rally in 1939 that happened there. Side of this political conversation that ended up whipping people into such a fervor that somebody ends up getting shot over it. No, we need to really tone things down. We need to cool it off a little bit. Bunch of bastards. But yes, when it came to dishing back the insults, the only people that Trump really attacked was the ticket opposing him on the ballot. Didn't take it to Democrats, didn't take it to independents, nothing like that. It was simply Tim Walz is a disaster and Kamala Harris is a very low IQ person, which, I mean, you look at some of her interviews, and bro, we might as well just go to this one right now, because you got this Club Shay Shay podcast, right? Like Shannon Sharp. It's kind of funny, right? Because at the beginning of the year, had Cat Williams on there, just, basically presage everything that was going to happen with Diddy that has come out recently. But now you have Kamala over here, and, well, she's not necessarily doing the same type of ratings. But to be fair, it has only been live for, a little bit over a day at this point in time, but she's not necessarily also doing the numbers with 650,000 people in the first 10 hours. And looking at that ratio right there, not exactly doing work, but something that I really don't like outside of just this whole trend of guys not wearing socks in their dress shoes. Like, what the fuck is going on there? But just look at how commercial this shit is. Like, you got DraftKings. I don't know what the V is, but you got sponsorship from Black Ops. It's like that right there, that screenshot, okay? Just how rehearsed the background is and everything that is going on. It just goes to show you who's authentic and who's a prop without any cogent ideas to their name, okay? And what's the big takeaway from this one? Kamala Harris claims Trump would try to take away the right to free speech and gun ownership. He wants to terminate the Constitution. It's like, bro, you keep on trotting out these debunked talking points over and over and over again. That's all you have? Is that legitimately all you have? Trump was right to call you a low IQ person. But I think something that, because like I said, there's a very good reason, and I do encourage you to go and watch the full Trump Rogan interview. It's very good. They bring up a bunch of different issues. Focus a lot on, what happened in 2020 or what didn't necessarily happen in 2020. Trump working with RFK, and that being a very good thing, especially if you're going to point Bobby in the direction of making the country healthier again. That'd be fantastic. That's definitely his good niche. Just keep him out of the environment. Because, if, he's a dyed-in-the-wall Democrat on anything, it comes to keeping the environment very healthy, not drilling. It's like, okay, well, go play with your chemicals over there and go throw out the ones that you don't think should be in people's body. Okay, Bobby, you go over there and you go do that. I hope this happens, and we get this right before the election. Okay, we get this over the weekend. Maybe Kamala makes a stop past Austin. Maybe she's stumping for somebody over there and she ends up doing the Joe Rogan podcast. Even though I've heard some things that now Joe is just not listening to any of the campaign staffers, trying to make this last-ditch effort to get Kamala on there to, I don't know, probably do a couple of pre-rehearsed questions or just make it as structured as humanly possible for them to edit it up to make her look as glowing as you can possibly get this airhead to. But as Trump's saying, can you imagine Kamala doing this show? Rogan replied, I could imagine her doing this show, but Trump pushed back, insisting that if Kamala dared to engage the unscripted 3-hour podcast, she would fall apart like one of her cheap dresses at Willie Brown's or Montel Williams' home in the late 80s, early 90s. No, it would be that final car crash that would firmly knock anybody still riding the fence at this point in time, which I really don't think that there is anybody who is undecided as to who they're going to be voting for. I was very skeptical of that even when we officially got past the nomination process. Kind of figured everybody, if you were going to be voting blue no matter who, you'd be pulling that lever for the Democrats. And if you were riding with Trump, you've already have been for a long time, okay? Whether you've been vocal about it or not, you have been a Trump supporter for at least a cycle or two at this point. But mostly this interview that did a lot of good for people that are, I don't know, maybe skeptical about Trump. I don't really know, man. It offered a much more listenable side where it wasn't as braggadocious, over the top. It was a very good conversation. And maybe because it was so level-headed in its presentation, Democrats would most likely want to focus in on the big old Madison Square Garden rally where the likes of Hulk Hogan, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tulsi Gabbard, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Tucker Carlson, Dr. Phil, everybody turned out to this one. Elon Musk jumping up and down, doing the whole Super Saiyan yell with his dark gothic MAGA cap on. It was a huge event, and Madison Square Garden was filled to the rafters. But I heard that Tony Hinchcliffe, okay, the comedian, the fairly prominent comedian, went up there and did a set. Like, okay, that's kind of, I don't hate it at all. It's like Hinchcliffe's pretty funny, all things considered. But what did they focus in in on? What did they focus in on? One of the jokes that he made, because this wasn't a political speech by no means as an endorsement of Trump. It's just, I'm going to come up here and we're going to tell some jokes. And somebody who has listened to comedians from New York for a very long time, I know that they rag on Puerto Ricans like comedians from the South rag on Mexicans, and comedians from Florida rag on Cubans and Dominicans. Couldn't think of the name. But geographically speaking, if they're going to be telling any Hispanic jokes, the Northeast has Puerto Ricans. That's what they do, okay? From the times of Patrice O'Neill back in the cut to the Opie Anthony days, they were the brown punching bags, okay? So to hear Tony Hinchcliffe make a fairly mild-mannered joke about it, and we can play the clip right here that Kamala HQ tweeted out, and they're getting big mad about this one. Trump rally speaker. Well, he's a comedian, not so much of a rally speaker, but I like the way that you're framing it. There's literally a floating isle of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Yeah, exactly. It's a joke, but we'll let the comedian deliver said joke.
It is absolutely wild times. It really, really is. And there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. No.
Yeah. Did it get the most raucous of reception? Absolutely not. Mostly because everybody was just kind of coming down there to be like, yeah, but we want to hear Trump talk. And it's like, we're going to be getting a comedian. Maybe a weird choice for a booking, but what's wrong with that? He's trying to be funny, okay? Did he miss? Maybe in your opinion he did, but Kamala HQ and, Tim Walz and AOC took some time out of their video game streaming to react to the clip, and we'll be getting to that, I think, tomorrow. When you have some a-hole calling Puerto Rico floating garbage. He's a comedian, you moron. And AOC, I'm pretty sure he might be one of your constituents, so you should probably familiarize yourself with some of them. Knows that what they think about you, that's what they think about anyone who makes less money than them. I mean, that's awfully rich from the party that is getting supported by all of Wall Street, all of the tech bros. Very interesting. Then you got Tony is slapping back going, these people have no sense of humor, while the vice presidential candidate would take time out of his busy schedule to analyze a joke taken out of context to make fun of it to seem racist. I love Puerto Rico on vacation there. I've made fun of everyone. Watch the whole set. I'm a comedian, Tim. Might be time to change your tampon. And there you go. The host of Kill Tony just killed Tim. But in general, man, like the way that they're trying to categorize those thousands and thousands of people, I'm not entirely sure what the ultimate turnstile count, the turnstile count for MSG was on Sunday, but the place was full. The place was loud too. And for MSNBC, CNN, the Harris Walz campaign to say, guys, it's basically like that rally that they had in 1939. Trump is Hitler. And as of all people, Piers Morgan is pointing out, who's been oddly based on his show in recent months, actually over the past year or so when he had Andrew Tate on, and he's kind of continued that on by bringing on more peripheral characters. Scum of the Earth, NBC or MSNBC, the Dems, and the ludicrous Trump is Hitler hysteria. Yeah, exactly, man. If this is their tactic, it's not working. It's not working at this point going forward. I don't see no stinking Nazis in here, brother, said Hulk Hogan when he was up on stage. And yeah, that's exactly what this is. This is a point in time where the mainstream media knows that it's going to be a very lucrative period for them because, oh yes, this is all kicking into high gear with the last week on the campaign trail. And they know that election night is going to be huge. But because they're ratcheting up all of this rhetoric, they know that the aftermath of election night is going to be equally as enormous. But here's the thing. They've cashed their check. They have 4 more years of relevance because I'm firm in my belief that Trump is going to win this election. I think that they're going to become even more desperate in the aftermath of said victory. But the next 4 years, for as much as Trump is going to be totally off the leash because he doesn't have any more elections left in him, he's going to get termed out at the end of this. He is open to do everything that he has aspired to on the campaign trail and then some. But then that's also free reign for the media to take it from Trump is Hitler to Trump is assembling his jackboots and he's going to come and kick down your doors, and somebody has to take care of him. It's going to be absolutely insane. It's going to be up to you to keep your head on a swivel, because mass media is not going to be playing fair. If you think Kamala Harris is used to getting down on her knees and playing dirty, you ain't seen nothing yet, brother. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.